On a winter weekend in Utah, a mother of two vanished from her own house. There were no witnesses, there was no confirmed sighting afterward, and the man who said he knew what happened was the last adult to see her alive. Susan Cox Powell lived in West Valley City, Utah, with her husband, Joshua "Josh" Powell, and their two young sons, Charlie and Braden. On December 6, 2009, Susan and the boys went to church that morning. Later that afternoon, a neighbor visited the Powell home and left around 5 p.m. That visit is widely reported as the last time Susan was seen by someone outside the household. By the next morning, Susan did not appear for work. Family members could not reach her. They realized the children had not been dropped off at daycare. When Josh failed to respond to calls, relatives went to the house and contacted police. Officers forced entry into the Powell residence. The house was empty. Inside, investigators found Susan's purse, wallet, and identification still inside the home. Her cell phone was later located in the family minivan, the Chrysler Town & Country Josh Powell had been driving.
For nearly 2 years, authorities have been searching for missing Utah mom Susan Powell. Her husband, Josh, whose alibi, a midnight winter camping trip with his children, is the only named person of interest by police.
Investigators also documented details that immediately raised concern. They observed a wet area on a couch, with two box fans pointed directly at it. During later forensic testing, investigators confirmed the presence of Susan's blood on the floor of the home. DNA results released in 2013 matched one blood sample to Susan. Another sample was attributed to an unknown male contributor. Police also discovered multiple life insurance policies taken out on Susan, totaling approximately $1.5 million. In addition, investigators found a handwritten letter written by Susan herself. In that letter, Susan expressed fear for her life and stated that she believed Josh might kill her.
It is 12:33 Mountain Time. Covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
Later document releases showed that following Susan's disappearance, Josh Powell took a series of actions investigators described as highly suspicious. He liquidated Susan's retirement accounts. He canceled her regularly scheduled chiropractic appointments. He withdrew both children from daycare. Josh told police that he had taken the boys on an overnight camping trip late on the night Susan disappeared. He claimed Susan was asleep when he left shortly after midnight.
Josh told police he took his boys on a winter camping trip the night his wife disappeared, leaving their home after midnight to drive to a campsite 2 hours away in the bitter cold. When he returned, he says, his wife was gone.
Investigators questioned the account, noting freezing weather conditions and the unusual timing. Police visited the camping area Josh described and reported they found no evidence of a campsite. Josh was questioned multiple times. During one period shortly after Susan vanished, he rented a car at Salt Lake City International Airport and drove extensively. Police later reported that more than 800 miles were added to the rental car's odometer. Josh stated he had been driving around the city, getting on and off freeways. Large portions of his movements during that time were never fully accounted for. Investigators also interviewed the couple's older son, Charlie. Charlie confirmed that the camping trip took place. However, Unlike his father, Charlie stated that Susan had gone with them and did not return. In the weeks that followed, a teacher reported that Charlie said his mother was dead. Later, Susan's parents reported that Braden drew a picture of a van with 3 people inside and told caregivers, "Mommy was in the trunk." Investigators publicly stated that they believed Susan Powell was the victim of a homicide. However, without her body and without sufficient evidence to meet charging standards, no criminal charges were filed in her disappearance.
Their family seemed picture perfect. 2 beautiful children, a home in a peaceful Salt Lake City suburb. But when Susan Powell suddenly vanished in December 2009, all eyes turned to her husband, Josh, who eventually became the only person of interest according to police.
Did you have anything to do with the disappearance of your wife?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Investigators publicly speculated about possible motives based on documented evidence. These included financial gain through life insurance, marital conflict, and planning behavior. Investigators also noted that prior to Susan's disappearance, Josh Powell had spoken to coworkers about how a body could be hidden in abandoned mine shafts in the western Utah desert. These points were presented as investigative conclusions, not courtroom findings. The case remained open for more than 2 years. On February 5, 2012, the investigation took a tragic turn in Graham, Washington. During a supervised visitation at Josh Powell's rented home, Josh shut the door after his 2 sons entered. The social worker was locked outside. Moments later, Josh Powell attacked his sons with a hatchet, set the house on fire, and died by suicide. Both children were killed.
A social worker had just dropped the children off at Josh's house for a supervised visit when Josh locked her out of the house, according to the 911 call she made.
He just opened the door. The kids were 1 step ahead of me. They're 5 and 7. They were 1 step ahead of me, and he slammed the door in my face.
Hello, this is Josh. I'm calling to say goodbye.
Josh left this message for his family before he blew up the house with his boys and himself inside.
Following Josh Powell's death, authorities officially closed Susan Cox Powell's case. Susan was legally declared deceased. Her body has never been found. True crime, real horror. Shadow lore, where every darkness hides a story. Subscribe if you dare.